Welcome, everybody, from Iowa. And you didn't hear it from me, but there's a caucus coming up here in less than 48 hours. And it's got the world's attention as we formally kick off the 2016 presidential season. And this, of course, is the state that will forever go down in political lore for making Jimmy Carter famous. The year in 1976, he finished second to none of the above, or no choice. But since no one saw that one coming, all of a sudden it was Jimmy Carter, an unknown Georgia governor, who was coming and went on to win the Democratic nomination and, of course, the presidency of the United States. So this is a state that makes kings. And right now, there are a lot of potential kings and queens out there. Today alone, in the next 2 hours, Ted Cruz, Ben Carson, Carly Fiorina, John Kasich, Mike Huckabee, and I hope before these 2 hours are out, the singer Adele on the controversy of her songs. Now, I know what a lot of you are saying back home. Neil, there is no way in heck that Adele will do your show. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. We've got all these potential presidents of the United States. I mean, Adele, hello, hello. All right, so we're now looking at really the breakdown of this. And when you look at the candidate schedules, you really get a sense of this dash to the clash, as we pointed out. Rand Paul, throughout this weekend, has 28 appearances all over Iowa. Marco Rubio, 15. Ted Cruz, 15. Rick Santorum, 15. Chris Christie, 12. I could go on and on and on. Suffice it to say that when you add up all their appearances, the odds you could walk outside and not bump into a presidential candidate, well, they're very, very, very low, extremely low. I'm honored right now to kick things off with Dr. Ben Carson, coming off a very good debate performance. He's very popular, especially in the evangelical community, which, of course, will be a crucial constituency to win over in this important state. Doctor, good to have you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good to be here.
How you holding up?
No problem at all.
Yeah, yeah. Now, as a doctor, and you know, obviously, how to take care of yourself, what do you do, I mean, to deal with that?
Well, first of all, you know, in terms of the hours and the stress, I'm very used to that. You know, 36 years of 12 to 16-hour days with a lot of life and death stress.
Right.
So this is a piece of cake compared to that. You know, I have to watch your diet, obviously, because
you and me both.
and take the stairs whenever you can.
I've heard of that. I've heard of that. But I'm on a very high floor here at this hotel. You know, one of the things I was thinking about, Doctor, and you and I chatted about this before. We talk about the evangelical vote, very important in this state. It's what made Mike Huckabee a winner 8 years ago, Rick Santorum 4 years ago. But now there are a lot of you guys, the argument goes, competing for that vote. A little simplistic, but how do you stand out in a crowd that preaches to the same choir?
Sure. Well, you know, everybody says that they are the epitome of evangelism. But I just say to people, what does the Bible say? It says, by their fruit you will know them. So look at the fruit. Don't look at the rhetoric. Look at the fruit. That'll tell you all you need to know.
Many in your campaign, when there was a campaign shakeup, Doctor, urged you to be more in your face, louder, more obnoxious. You chose not to go that route. You throw some zingers in now and then at the Fox News debate, certainly at the Fox Business debate. There are some things you will do, some things you will not do. What will you never do?
Well, I'll never compromise my principles. I won't lie. I would much rather lose than lie. Because what good does it do a man to gain the whole world and to lose his soul?
Even if you get the White House?
The White House is not as important as making sure that your integrity is intact.
You know, the one thing about you that makes you stand out among, again, I don't want to typecast you as popular evangelical candidates, that you have a lot of money. Your campaign takes in a lot of money. Some of your competitors on that front, not so lucky. Ted Cruz may be successful in that regard, but he was wounded after the debate. Do you ever envision a scenario where you sort of run up the middle? If he stumbles, Trump stumbles, maybe people ticked off, didn't show up at the debate, that you take advantage of that? It's kind of the argument Marco Rubio's people are using.
Well, I don't look at it in terms of taking advantage of someone else's fall. You know, the book of Proverbs talks about it not being a good thing to root for somebody else's fall.
Yeah, but that was before campaign commercials.
So I don't believe in that. And, you know, as far as money is concerned, the thing that I would emphasize is that I refuse to take money from special interests and from billionaires who want to influence me. I believe that one of the reasons that Washington is messed up is because we have so many special interest groups influencing people. And one of the reasons I think many people are not interested in traditional politics is because they know of all those relationships that exist. And as I've pulled the covers up and looked underneath and seen what's going on in Washington, it really is quite disgusting.
You know, when you follow money, though, as I do as the resident nerd at Fox, Doctor, it follows a perceived winner. And the fear is that if you don't do well in Iowa, or you don't do well in New Hampshire, your remarkable fundraising starts drying up. And I believe in the quarter just ended, you raised more money than any of the other candidates. Do you fear that you've got to post some good numbers, that you've got to, if not place in the top 3 in Iowa, place in the top 4 in New Hampshire? Do you look at it that way?
I do not. I look at it, you know, this was never on my bucket list of things to do. I responded to the hundreds of thousands of petitions that were flooding my office and my house, and the people everywhere I went saying, you got to run. And I am. And when I decide to do something, I put my heart into it. And I really want to save this country, and I will do everything I possibly can to do that and provide people with that choice. I will always assess to see if that is still something that people want. They will make that very clear if that is something that appeals to them. If they rather have, you know, entertainment, you know, that's okay too. You know, you get what you deserve. Hopefully the American people are ready to reclaim the values and principles that made us into a great nation and not settle for something that entertains us or makes us feel good for a few minutes.
Nevertheless, you have to churn out campaign commercials. I'm sure anytime you spend in Iowa, if you have a chance to look at the TV, there are a lot of campaign commercials. Do you think the people of Iowa are getting hit with too many campaign commercials that you could actually be hurting your cause?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I hope you've noticed I haven't put any negative commercials out there.
Right.
I don't believe in that, at least at this phase. Now, when we get to
Proverbs advances to negative campaigning.
Well, when we get to the general election,
right,
I wouldn't call it negative campaigning, but I would say putting the facts out there. Okay. You know, truthfulness versus deception, and making that very obvious to people.
All right. Dr. Carson, a real pleasure seeing you. I know you have a crazy day. We do appreciate it. Dr. Ben Carson, I missed a chance to ask more questions about that man cave of his. Maybe next year.